In the beginning, God. The scripture starts in a very interesting way. The very beginning is with God. And what is God doing? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And it's a very beautiful picture painted. And some questions arise. Why does God create? What does God create? Let's travel together in this beautiful sharing as we consider creation reflections. Now consider, in the first book of the Bible, Genesis chapter 1, we find that God is creating. And how does he create? The book of Psalms chapter 33 verse 6 and verse 9 tells us something very interesting. That by the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. For he spoke, and it was. He commanded, and it stood fast. Take that thought. Think upon it, that God simply spoke, and it was. Consider the sun that shines brilliantly upon us, giving us light and life and joy. God simply said, let there be, and it was. By that word, the sun came to be. And think even of the mighty animals we can have a picture of. The whales in the seas, the elephants on the land, the birds of the air. In all these things, God simply said, let there be. And by that simple word, it was. And you know, at the end of it all, we come to the culmination of the day, or of the sixth day, I mean. And in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, we find something very interesting. And we are told that, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. God is speaking to himself for the first time in creating. It seems, and it's hinted at unto us, that this has been the climax of creation. That is, God has created everything else, the land, the seas, the fountains of living waters, only for man. Now he's making the biggest and sole purpose of his creation. That is man. And what intent does he have for man? Simply this, let us make man in our image. We find that God gives man something. It is his image. Man is created in the image of God. He is created holy, righteous, perfect, as God is. That is the very first thing that God gives man. But then, what else does God give to man? God gives man this, let them have dominion. God gives man dominion. To you and to me, when God created us, he gave us dominion over the animals of the land, over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, over all the earth, that we might rule and use it well for his glory. So we find that God gives man his image, then he gives him dominion over all that is upon the earth. But then God doesn't leave it at that. He goes beyond that. Turning to the book of Genesis chapter 2, we had a very beautiful picture. You know, God has created everything, but then he gives Adam the opportunity of naming everything. And it says, the Bible speaks to us in the book of Genesis chapter 2, in verse 19. And out of the ground the Lord God formed the beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam, to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. What a privilege that God makes and man names. It's such an honor. But then God realizes something. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and the fowl of the air, and every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. God felt the need of Adam. God realized Adam needed a help. And so God makes Adam an help. He causes him to get into a deep sleep, takes a rib from his side, and he makes Eve a woman for the man, for Adam. And when Adam rises out of sleep, he beholds him, and it's as if it's a new world. And in verse 23, Adam breaks forth into a joyous poem, and he is speaking, and he says this now is bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. God blesses man with a companion, and behold how Adam is happy. And behold, even in our world today, men seek for companions, a blessing from God. But even above all these things, we find man is created on the sixth day. But behold, upon the seventh day, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 1, we are told, Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Was God tired? I mean, God never gets tired. Why was he resting? It was as Leonardo da Vinci might delight and muse after painting a Mona Lisa. God was resting to delight in his works. And even as Adam rested upon that first seventh day, they were not tired, because they've just been created on the sixth. Therefore, why are they resting? They are resting in God's work. It is an acknowledgement that God has created me. God has created all these things, given them to me. And therefore, I will rest in him. He can keep me. He will provide for me. He is my God. He is my Father. And the one overarching question is, why does God create? It's a question. But the answer is found in this, that God is love. God creates because he is love. He makes all these things, then gives them to man. He simply blesses man. Love ever gives. That is one characteristic of love. And in creating, God was giving both to the lower nature and to man himself his love. He that feeds the birds of the air and clothes the grass of the field takes care of man. And God is love. And may God bless you. My name is Emerson Munene, and we have looked at creation reflections.